So as I said in the previous video, we are gonna create our game over for the player. And how we're gonna do that? Well, it's pretty simple. We are gonna go to the 3D models, and here we have sphere 2. If you open up the sphere 2, you can see it's kind of big, like too big. That's one thing. The other thing is that our sphere is in multiple objects. As you can see here, it has like maybe about less than 100, but it's pretty close. And I can go and remove, for example, this one over here. I can go remove this one here. I did this inside of the Unity Blender. If you have other models, it will be great to use for your games and so on. But the thing is, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you how to create and what to do with it. So we want the logic that we're going to use. We're going to have this over here, and then after it gets hit by one of these, we're going to get this removed, so it's not going to be visible, and we're just going to get this spawned and have these spread around. Now to do that, we're going to first remove it and then add it again. And let me show you what are you going to do. First of all, you're going to do here 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. So it's actually the same size as our player. Let me pull it up. Can I do it? Okay, I can. And let me just make our player visible once again. Then what are we going to do is we're going to go and select every cell size, which we're going to add the mesh collider, which will have it's convex, and we're going to have the rigid body. It's simple as that. Now these things you can play around with, test what's working and what's not working, and then take the sphere, rename it to breakable player like this, and then go to the assets, prefabs, and just add it here, original prefab, and we can remove it over here. And now we have our breakable player. So if I add it and then I start the game, you can see that it will just go and spread around. So this is what we want for our breakable player. So let me remove it, and now we can go to our player and actually code the stuff that I was talking about. So we're going to go here, and here we have the game over thing. So first of all, we will need a public. So we'll need a public game object. So public game object breakable player and semicolon. Then I'm going to go inside of the game over UI, and I'm going to say game object shader sphere, or shader sphere like this, equals to instantiate. And we're going to instantiate our breakable player to its position and quaternion.identity. So what's going on here? We're creating a game object which will be called shader sphere, and we're going to instantiate it as a breakable player at transform.position at the position of our player, and we're setting quaternion.identity, which means its current rotation, which is 0, 0, 0, 0. Then what are we going to do is we're going to get for each variable, which will be transform inside of the object, so transform inside of the object inside of our shader sphere. So we're going to get every single child inside of that parent, which is shader sphere, and shader sphere dot transform, not just shader sphere but shader sphere dot transform. And I know my pronunciation on the shader sphere is not great, so I might as well stop doing it. Then we're gonna say o dot get component. So get component. I was probably butchering the sphere over there, but never mind. We're gonna get the rigid body, and we're gonna say open close parentheses dot add force, and we're gonna add our vector3 dot forward multiply, and this number here will be the amount of force you want to add in. This can be dependent on, like, maybe you can add rigid body dot velocity dot magnitude, the current velocity of magnitude. We can try that out, and then force mode dot impulse, like this. If it's too big, you can a bit scale it down. If it's too small, you can pump it up, and so on and so forth. So what's going on here? Well, basically we're creating a shader. I'm just going to call it, we're creating our breakable player, and we're instantiating our breakable player as a shader sphere. Okay, I did it correctly. Why are we doing that? Basically because now when we have the game object inside of the game over, we can do whatever we want. I can just go here, tap in shadow sphere, and I can say dot transform equals to vector 3.0, and this will just make him go to the vector 3.0. Of course this will not work, but you get the idea. So transform dot position, now it will work. It will just make its position to the vector 3.0. Why is that? Well, basically because if you only instantiate the player, it's not stored anywhere. But if you store it inside of this game object, then you can do whatever you want to that game object, and it will be basically the exact same thing as doing this. Then what are we going to do is we're going to say time dot timescale equals to, let's say for example 0.2f, and once we click back on, so once we click back on, when we restart the current level, we're just going to say time dot timescale equals to 1 and then add a semicolon. So if I go back, I need to add a breakable player. Can I go and do it here? Player or break, it's not here, it's maybe here. Breakable player, like this. And let's test it out. So if I click play, it's working. I go, I touch it, and bam, it gets destroyed, and it goes all over the place. Now it's kind of too slow. It's looking like it's lagging and not actually being slowed for some reason. It might be because of my recording, but it is what it is. So basically maybe adding a bit more value to it, maybe 0.5 will make it a bit faster. And you can just play around with these numbers to see what works and what doesn't. So then bam, now we created 3 players instead of 1, which means that we have hit these 3 over here and not only 1. So if I hit it from here, I will spawn more breakable players, and that's something that we do not want. And I'm going to show you a quick fix to do it. And if I click it, and bam, so our magnitude was 0, so we did not do it. But if I fly, you can see here, it's gonna go all over the place. Let me go ahead and do it over here. And then bam, it actually spreads around. But you know what? One thing I don't like is I'm gonna do this, and I'm not gonna use rigid body magnitude, but I'm gonna add multiply by 5. That's what I have used for my thing, and that's what worked out for me. So if I play again, then click on it, bam. Why is it it's too slow? It's too slow. I have to pump it up maybe to 0.3. I'm just gonna play around with it until I get it right. So bam, click on it, and it goes away. Now what else I want to do is, if it's that, or I'm just going to say, or if target dot game object dot name equals to the player. So even if the player comes and hits it, it's gonna stop moving. And I'm gonna enter so we can see it in only one line. So yeah guys, that will be it for this video. Hope you like it. Hope you enjoyed creating this cool little effect of shadow. You can apply this on anything you want. If you want to know the tutorial that I watch, or if you want me to make the tutorial, which is not pretty good idea, on Blender and how to actually create it, it's fairly simple. So just let me know if you want me to do that. If not, I'm cool with that. I'm cool. So yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.